Oh my god, Edge makes a shocking return. That was a statement that applied to his return as a surprise entrant in the 2020 Royal Rumble match because nobody, not even their mother, not even their mother's mother, not even the Smothers Brothers, not anybody on this goddamn earth, in this universe, or any universe, thought that Edge was going to be able to return from his career-ending neck injury. Because when you have something career-ending, the doctors tell you it's career-ending, you tell people it's career-ending, you believe it's career-ending, well, you don't come back from that. You go do something else. He did something else. And then, nearly 9 years after he had to give up his first love, professional wrestling, he returned in a perfect storm in a stadium atmosphere, and the crowd fucking loved him. And then the pandemic hit, but that wasn't Edge's fault. It was still Edge. It was still great to see him being able to do what he loves. And hell, even his return at the following year's Rumble was pretty shocking. It was really, really cool to see. There was some good stuff, and Edge has made the most of it. The problem is this is the 5th or 6th shocking return that we've had. It's not a shocking return. It's not a shockering return. At this point, it's just Edge returning. And that's fine, but let's stop lying to ourselves. It's Edge returning. Let's just leave it at that. But anyway, I'm John Renton with my review of WWE Raw from Edmonton, dramatic pause, Alberta, Canada. Okay, it doesn't quite have the same gravitas as when, Lance Storm said Calgary, Alberta, Canada. But anyway, nevertheless, let me know your thoughts on this show in the comments, please. Yes, Edge making his shocking return after being gone for, 3 weeks? Look, I understand he has limited dates. You don't want to overexpose Edge. But, my oh my, let's just stop, using flowery language for stuff like, oh my god, Edge is back. He's back early. This is great. You could have said it differently. Shocking return doesn't really apply. The Raw theme is ass. Absolute goddamn ass. God, this theme sucks. And it's not the only theme that sucks in, WWE. And they have some good themes. One that isn't, and I'll talk about it in just a couple seconds, but yeah, the Raw theme fucking sucks. So, Canadian crowds, look, when they were up, they were really goddamn up in Edmonton. There were a few times where they were almost on their hands. Now, genuine question for anybody that was there in the arena. Were you guys cheering your hearts out and the mics just didn't pick it up? Maybe they didn't mic the crowd. Well, I'm genuinely curious because Canadian crowds usually are pretty goddamn hot. So, Bianca, Asuka, and unfortunately Alexa Bliss show up. I have no desire to see Alexa Bliss continue to wrestle. I'm just going to say that right now. So, Bianca, she's ready to go to war with Bayley. Okay, makes sense given all the stuff that's gone on and 3-on-1 beatdown that happened. Here's Damage Control. Their theme is ass. Absolute goddamn ass. But let me just say, speaking of one of those words, here's Bayley and here's Io and Dakota. And Bayley is a hell of a promo. She means what she says. Some good back and forth here. She says she had to work for what she got, and Bianca was chosen. Oh, and Bianca takes offense to that, and she says, no, I earned that. And wait a second, when I main evented WrestleMania 37, what were you doing? Oh, you were around, and you couldn't do anything. And then you got injured. And I wrote down, Bayley can't hide all that. You know what I'm talking about. Hard to ignore. Talented women and Alexa Bliss in the ring. But Bayley and Bianca going back and forth with the promos. Tells Bianca to fall in line. Hulk Hogan nods his approval, if you know what I mean. They go over their history. And Bianca even says, I remember putting you on beating you up with a ladder. And KODing you onto a ladder at Hell in a Cell. So, Bayley says, oh, how about we have a ladder match? Now, that's a good way to get the title off of Bianca without having her take a pin. And then you could build it up one more time and have Bianca win again at WrestleMania. You could run that back and that would actually work. So, Bianca says, well, okay, but if I can't have you at Extreme Rules, I want one of your cronies. I want Io. We all want Io, to be fair. Who wouldn't want Io? Apparently, Evil and Io did not work out. Io deserves the best. So, Solo Sikoa and Sami Zayn show up, by the way, because the match briefly starts between the women and then we go to break. I wonder why the Usos couldn't go to Canada. Maybe if they weren't such goddamn idiots, and actually drove in, a sober state, maybe they wouldn't have that problem. So anyway, Io and Bianca had a match, and all the peeps are outside. Asuka and, unfortunately, Alexa in Bianca's corner. Bayley and Dakota in Io's corner. Well wrestled. Bianca's a star, tremendous strength. Io is talented as hell. There was a post spot and a break or whatever. Of course, it was drive-by action, and I'm not going to even say it, but let's just leave it right there. Oh no, don't step on the braid. Oh no. And the crowd, they got up in the closing moments. This is awesome. We got a roll through off the top into a fallaway slam because Bianca's really talented and Io fed for her. Some good stuff. And then we get an arm drag off the top by Io. We get a crossbody onto Dakota and Bayley. And Io hits a couple palm strikes. Gets back in the ring, but suddenly KOD, 1, 2, 3. Clean. Okay. Didn't expect Io to take the pin. Figured we'd get some interference, but all right. And here's Steve Patrick interviewing Ray, who's in a vintage Bret Hart shirt. And why didn't you hit Dominic? That's not my son. It is your son. You should have knocked some sense into him, Ray. And he says, okay, Kevin Patrick. But, after Kevin Owens said, I don't like that name. Change it. I'm now calling him Steve Patrick. He says, Kevin, you're a father. Is everybody in this goddamn company a parent? Genuine question. So, there will be no mercy for Seth. That was a different video game, Ray, that you weren't in the company for. So, Miz is backstage with security, or his Miz Force. This is stupid. This is really dumb. Stop being dumb with the storyline. Seth Pheasant Rollins cut a promo on Riddle about the Extreme Rules Fight Pit match and got the crowd to sing along to his theme. Cut a decent enough promo because he certainly believes it. He's weird. And then he faced Ray. Look, this was probably one of the best wrestling matches that they both had against each other, I think maybe ever. Because let me tell you right now, that eye for an eye match, this made up for that to an extent. It was well wrestled, went through a lot of breaks, or a couple breaks actually, and Rollins targets the ribs in the back. Good stuff there. And then Dominic shows up, and then a QR code that you quickly scan says it was a montage of who killed the world. That's appropriate, since Dominic usually kills my interest in the show when he shows up. I know what they're trying to do, and look, I'm sure Dominic is trying hard. This thing with Ray and Dominic, I don't care about the Judgment Day stuff. Oh, it's a callback to when Rollins faced off against Dominic at SummerSlam. I'm not against doing that in callbacks with the right people, but Dominic, it's not working. It's not. They're going to try to pass on the torch to Dominic, and Dominic is going to flame out. Not because he doesn't have the drive to want to succeed. It's because nobody's going to fucking buy into it. So there was the slide splash that that Ray does. That was cool. The Rana off the top, fucking beautiful. Great pop on that. And then Dominic tosses a chair at Ray, says, hit me. And then Rhea gets Ray from behind, which she'd get me from behind. Moving on from that, posts Ray. And then everybody do the Mysterio stomp, and that's it. He gets pinned. And that's it. That's literally it. There's really not much more to it. So, oh God, whatever. I'm sorry. Anytime Dominic shows up, I'm just like, I give up. So, we get Riddle. He's, watching backstage. Oh, by the way, the Peruvian necktie actually gained the victory. I was hoping the Stomp would win, but no. Rollins manages to get a Peruvian necktie on there. Is that indicating Thunder Rosa is going to show up on the goddamn show? I'd be all for it if they featured her, right? But he's trying to show he can win in the fight pit. It was just odd. Like, he could have done it after the post spot and it would have been better. I mean, he didn't need to hit the stomp and then that. Whatever. Riddle was watching backstage. Lashley scared him and says, hey, great job. He's never been in the cage. We have. I know what it's like. You know what it's like. But don't interfere in my matches again. Oh, yeah, no worries, but I know you got this tonight. Meaning Lashley was basically saying, you ever fucking do that again, I'm going to kill you. And please, Lashley, cut him in half, please. So Alpha Academy shows up. Right after we see that one of Miz's security guards are laid out as Gargano and Owens make their way to the ring. Alpha Academy pull a Jim Duggan at Mania 6 with flags. Big pop for Owens. Owens and Gargano took on Alpha Academy. You should be hanging out in Rosita with the rest of the dorks, says Corey about Byron. Yeah, okay, we get it. We get it. It was kind of funny when Cole said it, which is not a statement that I ever thought I'd say. But Corey, who isn't good, he's saying whatever. The crowd was into this. Look, I have not cared about Alpha Academy in a while. It was well wrestled. It went a while. Went a couple breaks. Sharp. Let me say right now, the matches were actually pretty well done. There was enough ebb and flow, easy for me to say, with these matches that things worked. I just think the big issue is that Raw is still 3 fucking hours. And I know why. They get a lot of money from it, but it gets draining. Even the best Raw still gets drained at 3 hours. Even though the pacing's better. Triple H has managed to pick up the pacing quite a bit. They do a bunch of stuff, and then eventually Theory distracts Gargano. We get a near fall for Gable. And then Theory gets stopped when he tries to hit Gargano with the briefcase. This is right after Owens ended up hitting an elbow drop through the announcer's table onto Otis. And that was it. And then we get the final beat. One final beat. 1, 2, 3. Then Styles is interrupted by Finn. There's strength in numbers. Come on. Be my friend. We have history. Be my friend. It's pretty much what the basis of this was. Oh, great. Edward James Olmos is on his way to the ring. Here's the Rumble 98 flashbacks. God, I remember when crowds were always fired up for shit. Theory and the Alpha Academy are talking, and Gable calls calls Braun a 2-ton doofus. Somehow Braun hears this, has Theory's phone number, and calls him. And challenges him to a match next week. And then it's going to be Otis versus Gargano next week. Yeah. So anyway, Edward James Olmos versus 2 jobbers. He wins and then stacks them on the announcer's table that they just put back together. And then Miz sees the security laid out. Loomis is dressed up like an Edmonton Oiler. I don't know which one. I don't care. Chokes him out and hits him with a hockey stick. Why am I supposed to care about this feud again? Speaking of things I don't care about, Nikki Ash, who is fine and I think deserves a whole lot better, is taking on somebody. What the hell is this? Oh no, the Poison Pixie herself, Candice LeRae, who got an initial reaction and then the bell rang and nobody cared about this match. Candice LeRae won. Nikki's upset, tore her mask off and everything. Good, Candice is back. So Steve Patrick is backstage talking to Judgment Day. Priest, you will have no remorse for Riddle. He's just going to keep teaming up on him and tag teaming him and everything. And if you get it, you get it. Sami Zayn gets a big pop for this match against AJ Styles. Solo Sikoa in the corner of Zayn. And it was good. It was well wrestled. I don't care about this Bloodline Sami Zayn stuff. And I know other people do, and I'm not knocking it. But we all know where it's going. It is what it is. There were a couple breaks. I mean, it seemed like we actually went from one break to another without really a whole lot of action, but that's the way they do this stuff. DX reunion in 2 weeks in Brooklyn. God, that means Road Dogg's have to show up, and that means I have to pick on Road Dogg for being the, bigoted piece of shit that he is, where I wish that Brad was still here instead of Road Dogg. So anyway, Calf Crusher, back to the match. Calf Crusher, we get to the ropes. Solo slam Styles on the apron, the hardest part of the ring, by the way, and then Haluva kick, 1, 2, 3. And then Styles is still in the ring, all beat up. Here's Judgment Day, and Finn says, hey, Styles, please, join me, help me, Spock, help me. It's like, you deserve better than this. And then he tries to do it too sweet, and AJ does this, and they beat him down. They put a chair on his neck. Oh, no, I could have done that, but that's not what friends do. And then we have Bianca and Co., where Candice interrupts, and then here's Bayley, Io, and Dakota with their luggage. They're leaving. They'd had Candice cut a promo. So anyway, Riddle and Priest had a match, and it was well wrestled. I have a hard time caring about Riddle in matches. I don't know. It's like something just is off-putting about him. He's good. He's really good. And him and Priest, this was only the main event because of the finish. We get a cradle, 1, 2, 3. By the way, the barricade spot where he just slammed Riddle into it looked fucking brutal. But yeah, cradle, 1, 2, 3. Of course. Roll up, 1, 2, 3. Judgment Day beats him down. Oh, look, Edge returns. Shocking return. Hey, Finn, face me and I quit match. That's pretty much it right there. It's not a bad Raw. By the way, in case you're wondering why this review is up way, way later, it's because I had to work a closing shift on Monday for this week only. So I apologize for that. I will be back to my normal happy self later. So agree, disagree what I said, like, share, subscribe, Twitter handle in the description. I'm John Rickland. I'll see you soon.